What's up, guys? Ryan here again, and doing another Think, Learn, and Be Vulnerable vlog. And today I'm going to talk about Dua Lipa's new rules and why it's such good advice. So let's start right from the top. Rule number one. One, don't pick up the phone. You know he's only calling because he's drunk and alone. I think this is excellent advice. You have to set boundaries, right? You have to let them know, look, you are not a part of this relationship anymore. You don't have say here anymore. And just because you are feeling lonely and just because you are missing this relationship, I have to do what's best for me. I have to do what's best for my health and well being. And I can't let you back into my life. And if I pick up the phone, I know what you want. Like, you only want to you just want to have sex. You just want to come meet me again. And you're not actually thinking about us. You're not thinking about our relationship and our well being. You're only thinking about your own. And you're only thinking about a temporary fix. And you're not regarding my feelings. And you're not thinking about the impact that would have on me if I let you back into my life. So, really good advice. His motives are selfish. Do not reward selfish motivations. All right, rule number two, don't let them in. You'll have to kick them out again. This is another one that is really good. It does tie into the boundaries thing, but the whole idea is that a lot of times people, when they're in relationships, feel like they have dominion over somebody else that they were in the relationship with. That's not fair because the relationship is no longer there. When you are in a relationship, you're sharing a lot, and a lot of that is shared space. A lot of that is shared domain, right? This person, by wanting to come in and wanting to be a part of that shared space again, is now like trying to say, we're still in a relationship. Like, I still have power here. I still have say over what happens in this space. He doesn't, you know. This is my space. This is my space. You can't come back in here. And if he comes in, then you have to kick him out, and that makes things even worse, and that can cause fights, and that can cause drama, and that potentially is very dangerous. But what it does is, if he is there, now you're feeling that energy. You're feeling what it's like to still be together and still be in that relationship, and that can mess with your head, and that can be intoxicating. Obviously you guys were in a relationship, so like those feelings are still there, and you're never going to truly separate yourself from those feelings if he keeps coming around. And so it's really important to be like, hey, you're not allowed here anymore. You gotta go. And instead of kicking him out once he gets there and having to deal with that energy again, don't even let him in. You set your boundary. Now you got to maintain that boundary. All right. Rule three, don't be his friend. You know you're going to wake up in his bed in the morning. And this is really important. I'm not saying that exes can't be friends, but there has to be a long cooling off period, a period to where the emotions and the attachments that you had to this other person can dissipate. Because if you guys are friends and you're still in each other's lives, it's very easy to fall back into a pseudo relationship like you had, And the thing is, you'll be doing all the things that you were doing in your relationships, spending time with each other, having sex, going out, attaching to each other, doing stuff together. But you won't have the actual relationship, right? You won't be fully connected to each other in the way that you should, because this isn't going to work. So all it's really going to do is build up emotions to then get smashed again and then get hurt again, because this relationship doesn't work. But the thing is, sex feels good, and sex with somebody familiar feels better. And it can be easy to be intoxicated and fall back into the trap of being with this person and thinking it's going to be okay, thinking, whatever, it's just sex now. Like we're not together, so it's not going to affect me as much. No, it is. It's going to affect you. And this is a matter of like being real with yourself and being vulnerable with yourself and realizing like, nah, you know, if I let them back in and we have sex, this is going to keep happening again. It's like alcoholics. Like you just can't have a drink, because otherwise it's very easy to fall right off the horse and then go down this road and start drinking again, or in this case, keep having sex with this person. It doesn't work, but the thing is, our bodies want to attach, and sex is a way for that to happen. It releases a lot of endorphins and oxytocin and stuff. So if you're his friend and you keep having sex with him, this is what happens. The relationship is, the relationship is only over in name only. So yeah, let's move on to rule 4. And if you're under him, you ain't getting over him. Yeah, 100% true. Like, sleeping with somebody is going to keep reinforcing you to stay in this weird nebulous relationship that you guys have. It's not fair, and it's really difficult because you don't have the security of, agreed upon faithfulness and agreed upon fidelity. So who knows what he's doing out there? Who knows if he's picking up STDs and then bringing them back to you? Who knows if he promises you things that he's going to have and they're not going to happen? Well, guess what? Because you're not together, he doesn't have to keep these promises anymore. He doesn't have to be beholden to your feelings. He doesn't have to care about your feelings. You're not together. And that's the thing. You shouldn't care about him and about his feelings, but it's very easy when you're having sex to have those feelings grow and have the attachments grow and then feel like you should care about those things. But you're not in a relationship anymore. It has to end. And he's got to go. So let's move on to some other lines that I think are really great. I keep pushing forwards, but he keeps pulling me backwards. Now I'm standing back from it. I finally see the pattern. So this is a big one too. It's very difficult to see like what's going on in your relationship if you're in the relationship, because there's so many feelings attached to it, and like the patterns that you guys go through and the things that you guys do, like oftentimes it's difficult to come to the proper conclusions and let somebody know like, hey, you know what, this really doesn't work for me. And it's hard because they have a say in it too. And sometimes you don't realize things are going as bad as it maybe feels deep down until like other people point it out to you, until you get some distance from it. This is why like it's important to like take some breaks in relationships if things aren't quite going well. Take 2 weeks off from each other, and then you got to see, is this something that we can like come back together and legitimately work on, or is this something where it's just not going to work? And it's really hard to figure that out when you've got all the emotions wrapped up, and it can cause very explosive breakups if you're not careful. So I love that line. Let's see. Other good lines. Practice makes perfect. I'm still trying to learn it by heart. Eat, sleep, and breathe it. Rehearse and repeat it because I got new rules. I down them. Yes. I love this song so much. This is super important because if you don't apply all the things that we've talked about up until this point, it doesn't matter. You haven't really like, it won't hold. It won't. You have to allow these new practices to attach to yourself. You have to allow these new practices to become a part of who you are. Because if you don't, he's just going to come right back. He's just going to keep pushing and trying to come back into this relationship. But he doesn't actually want the relationship. He just wants the sex and the good feelings. So you have to set the boundary and then maintain that boundary and continually be strong and be vigilant and say, no, no, you can't. No, absolutely not. This is for me. This is for my own protection. This is for my own mental and physical and emotional health. You cannot come back and mess that up because I'm more important than what we had. And then finally, I think my favorite, like, tying everything together line is right in the beginning. Talking in my sleep at night, making myself crazy, wrote it down and read it out, hoping it would save me. My love, he makes me feel like nobody else, but he doesn't love me, so I tell myself. The vulnerability in this song is just, oh, it's just wonderful. Like you've had a lot to think about, right? We have a lot to learn. Here's where the vulnerable part is. Here's where the vulnerability comes in. She's not saying these things like, I got it all figured out. These are my rules. I stick to them because I'm a strong, independent woman. Yay me. Like, she's saying, this is really hard. It's driving me crazy. I keep writing it down. I keep hoping it will save me. This is a mantra. This is something she has to repeat to herself over and over and over again to make sure it sticks. And that's really the point, is it's incredibly difficult to make this decision and stick with it and keep setting those boundaries and keep making sure that you respect yourself and that you put yourself first and that you care more about yourself than you do about the temporary good feelings that sex in a relationship can bring, because you're better than that. But it's really hard to be completely self-motivated when it feels good to be in a relationship and to do these other things. And I love how she is expressing how difficult this is for her and how it's a tenuous relationship between her and herself and her setting of boundaries. So I think that is what makes this song so good, is she's letting you know that this isn't easy for me, but I'm doing it. And in the video, it's really great because in the beginning, her friends are helping her and telling her, like, these are the rules, these are the things you got to do. And then by the end, she's doing it for them. And it's really great because eventually you will get through this and you will get over this person. And eventually you're going to be good. And then you can be there to help others and be like, look, I've been through it. I know what it's like. I know how hard it is. Let me help. Lean on me so you don't lean on him. Let me take you under my wing so you don't get under him. Because if you're under him, you ain't getting over him. I got new rules, I count them. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. See y'all later.